Right. So, as far as the claims workflow process is concerned, today we are going to discuss about the high-level process of the claim workflow, how this can be created. As we all know, whenever we are working on Guidewire applications or any other applications, integrations plays a vital and important role. We can integrate Guideware with any other external system, something like Jira, all that. In the last session, we have discussed about how to create the task, right? So what are the different tasks that can be updated in Jira when we are integrating Guideware with Jira? How can we create tasks? A list of tasks in regard to the claim center, everything we have created. Now I'm going to explain you about the claim process, right? So what process that is to be followed, etc. All that. So this is all something we are going to discuss. So start wherein we have updated, wherein if you want to update or if you want to perform, right? So claim processing and all. The first thing wherein we need to do for the claims cycle is for initiation. Okay, this is something which normally we do. This is what generally we call it as initiation. This is the first stage we do because if you want to manage any kind of policy holder initiation processes by notifying the insurance company of the incident or kickstarting the process, right? So everything comes under the initiation part. Next one about the to-do part in reference to the to-do process is concerned when we are talking about to-do. So to-do process where we have to be updated, whatever the required updations that we want to be maintained. Okay, so you need to maintain uh, status of assessment. Because assessment, right? So assessment is something we need to do, right? So what are the required assessments that are going to be updated? Once the initiation process is concerned, next assessment will be done. So after assessment, the next one about validation part, because verification and validation is also one of the key and important element one to be focused more on. So these are all the active states. These are all the in progresses that we have. Either it can be initiation or it can be validations or it can be assessments, right? So everything can be accessed here, right? So whatever the required transition process that we have, okay? Transition state here, we need to create a transition. So we have created a transition from validation, okay? Validation to status we need to do it, right? So here in reference to this to do updating once the validation we are completing whatever the validation process that we have created, so validation is completed. The next one about the documentation part. So okay, so if you want to update this for documentation or something like wherein you want to provide any documentation, everything we can do. This is where generally the done state here, okay? So given the transition name for documentation purpose, okay? So documentation purpose wherein we can create means if you want to create any kind of documentation. So once the validation process is completed, so that can be done. So once the documentation, then the next one about what we call the next one about evaluation part. So this is even important. So evaluation, right? So we need to update evaluations for the claim processing, etc. Right? So what are the required evaluations that we want to be performed? All these things we can create. So once evaluation we have done for the existing process that we have created, etc. So wherein if you want to update any kind of evaluations or any kind of settlements that we want to perform, right? So after evaluations, maybe negotiations we can do. At the same time, we can do the settlements followed by the resolution. So everything we can do. This is how generally a workflow process is something which we want to create. So once we have created here, you can see we have an option for updating workflow. So when we are creating, when we are selecting an update, automatically the workflow process will be updated. So this is what generally the workflow then generally we do when we are integrating Guideware with any other external applications like Jira and all everything. Something essentially required as far as the Guideware full stack is concerned.